Awesome. Coach Hollowell, we're glad to have you on. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yes. Yes.
Coach, what's up,
Yes,
man? I'm
sir.
driving across. I'm driving across the causeway. Where are you? Like in Lake Charles somewhere?
I pulled over on the side of I-10 to make sure I didn't drop a call.
Okay, well, I
Oh,
got
we're
it.
so
That's a good man.
grateful.
That's a good man.
Yes. So, Coach Hollowell, talk about we're ecstatic to have you here. Talk about just the press conference yesterday. And you talked a lot about being able to make the tie between our past, our glorious past, and you having that connection with Coach Tim Floyd. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, as a young kid, I was dribbling the ball in my driveway, and mom told me I could go to camp and gave me my deposit. So I was dribbling down the street to put that camp form in the mail. And as I was walking back, I was stopped by Coach Tim Floyd, and he offered me an opportunity to go to his camp. And so I rode with him to camp and became a UNO privateer fan. Got to see guys like Irvin Johnson, Tank Collins, Tony Harris, Luigi Dyer, Darren Lesh. Guys that were really good during that time, and during that time the arena was packed, and the energy was just electric, and so I've always thought it would be cool to kind of follow in his footsteps. I've looked up to Coach Floyd for a long time. Obviously, a guy who went from UNO to Iowa State to the Chicago Bulls. That's not a story that you hear often. And so I thought it would be cool to follow in his footsteps, and it's always kind of been a dream of mine to be the head coach at UNO.
Wow. So a dream realized.
Yeah,
We love that.
that's awesome, man. I'm glad that you know things worked out the way they did. But talk a little bit about the opportunity in front of you. So we kind of know how you got here now
Hmm.
through this story. We heard from me, and so no, let's back up. Talk about what it's like going through the search process with the firm, what you're thinking, what your level of preparation is. I think people don't understand. A lot of people on the outside think search firms actually select the coaches or select the AD. Why don't you talk about from your perspective what it was to kind of go through the process with them?
Well, really, I got a call and was asked to do a Zoom interview. And that Zoom interview was pretty straightforward. Initial questions about style of play, assembling a staff, assembling a roster, tell me about yourself, those sorts of questions. And and it was asked all by Steve Stroud, our deputy athletic director. And the search firm was there. They were a part of the call, but they weren't asking the questions.
Right.
So and then the second interview was with you, and similar. I think in this process it was more of them being a filter for you in some ways, checking background and so forth, and making sure that the candidates that came to the table were appropriate for the position and were qualified.
Yeah, and just from my perspective, I like to check my blind spots. So I knew I like to write off, obviously. I like to get those closest to me to weigh in on decisions, and then I make the final decision. So, when it comes to basketball, I trust Adam and Herb. They're great guys with Renaissance Search and Consulting. And they fill the pool with other great candidates. And Steve led the piece that narrowed that down. So the search firm narrowed it down based on our profile from, whatever the ungodly number is down to a more manageable one of, 8 to 10, 8 to 12. And then Steve and the firm kind of talked to those 8 to 12 men and, had some thoughts on who they thought rose to the top. And from there, I jumped in. And again, I knew a lot about you already. So our conversation, I think, was more about fit. I mean, I knew we had a great relationship already. It was just about making sure those last few pieces felt right and felt in place for us.
Coach, you as we look ahead, what kind of culture are you looking to build here? Because we know that's like super important when you're trying to build a successful program.
Well, I think it's important to establish what the word culture means.
Hmm.
Um, for me, it's how we interact with our players day in and day out, right? How they interact with each other day in, day out. What's acceptable behavior? What's unacceptable behavior? Treating each other with respect, giving each other the dignity that they deserve. And when that happens, things start to move faster, right? When you have trust in your teammates and you have trust in your coaches that everybody's got one goal in mind, and that is to win. Things start to move faster, and your development happens faster. So that's where we'll start. We'll start, just building trust within our group, getting to know our guys well, and letting them get to know us, and being transparent in a lot of ways that I feel some staffs are uncomfortable with.
And what kind of players are you looking for? You talked about a little bit about it at the press conference, but for those who aren't there, if you could just elaborate on that.
Well, look, ideally, I'm playing fast and athletic. We're throwing lobs and we're stealing the ball and dunking in transition, and that's the most fun way to play, right? And to have that, you've got to have guys that are long and rangy and have some sort of dimension to their game, and that dimension could be rebounding outside of your area. It could be that they shoot it really well. It could be that they're great passers outside of being great defenders and long and rangy. And when you have all those pieces, when you have guys that are heady enough to understand we can't go 4, 5, 6, 7 possessions in a row empty and still win, right? It's not about the shots that you want to take. It's about the shots that are best for our group. So we'll go, we'll let those guys play open. And if we go empty possessions, once or twice, then we may run something. Getting them to be judicious with our possessions, right? Like we can go, but we've got to take the shots that are best for the group. Teaching them how to put teams in rotation, how to create long closeouts. And that's a fun way to play, but you've got to get the guys that are willing to play that way. And we need some shooters. We need obviously some ball handlers that can get us into offense. We need rim finishers. And most importantly, guys that will defend and rebound.
Yeah, Coach, this segment's gonna wrap up in a second, but I want you to look right into the radio. And just tell the people why they should come and watch University of New Orleans basketball. You've seen it. I played against the employees teams back in the day. You watched it as a kid. Talk about the atmosphere we want to create and how every fan and or alum can help us.
Yeah, we want to put a product on the floor that's going to be entertaining for you to watch, and we want crowds that support our guys and bring the energy of our city to the arena. And when those things happen together, we've got a great team and we've got a great fan base. It's an unbelievable vibe and such a positive for our city.